The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the Barbershop Network, our great partners at H&B Media, or any of our media peers. We're just five idiots who love sports and love to talk shit. If you're offended easily, then this show isn't for you. And for those of you who aren't offended easily, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Remember, it's only entertainment.
So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold. My agent just said we made 100 flat. Make it back and make it stack this like I'm Steven Jack. Put my rings up in the camera like I needed that. Up in the air and at the rim is where I meet them at.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. It is your boy Scott once again. Y'all know to follow me on all social media platforms at Barberchair Scott. It is Friday, August 2nd, 2024. Yeah, man, got a packed show for y'all today. You can follow the Barbershop Network at Barbershop Net on all social media platforms. Follow H&B Media at H&B Media TV on Twitter and at H&B Media on Instagram, man. Of course, visit our website, bcnet.com. Subscribe to the patreon.com/Barbershop Network. And while you're at it, like, subscribe, leave a comment, do what you do. Keep supporting, and we appreciate all the feedback, man. I will be joined by the cast here. Bang will be joining just a second. He had to step out for a minute. We're gonna bring in Dante, who is on strictly talent duty. Yes. Shout out one of our new producers. Nikhil. He's holding it down in the background. Courtney Collarbro will join us in about 30 minutes. As we're gonna get ready for the local hour. Dante, how does it feel to just be doing one thing today?
It's solid, man. I can sit here and get smacked in NCAA in peace. You feel me? I really can't complain. It's good to be back, though.
Good to be back. Everything going down. Yeah, man, we're gonna when Bang says he can join, we'll add him back. But let's just get right into the local hour. Man, got some stuff to talk about from what happened yesterday in the NFL, man. The Bears had their Hall of Fame game last night, ended up winning 21-17 in a game that was actually canceled because too much rain in the Ohio area. As you can see, Caleb Williams right there on the scene. We got pictures now, nigga. We doing real production shit night now. We got pictures in here. I thought is Bang ready to join the call. I don't know. I'm seeing him in the background, but yeah, he said he's good. We're gonna add Bang up in here. Bang, what's going on? You on mute, dog. It's fine as soon as you start the show.
Look, my bad, fam. Just had a work call. I was being, my succession self on a weird call. My bad. But I'm good.
It's all good. All good, man. What we're going to do here, man, is we're going to get back to the Hall of Fame thing. So yesterday, we got our first look at Caleb Williams, at least in his outfit. I would say he has to get his on-field swag up a little bit. I didn't like the cut off knee joints. We gotta figure that out. I don't know. The on-field swag is very, very important. But the Bears won 21-17. Rain stopped it. Hall of Fame game. They got introduced. Devin Hester, Julius Peppers, Stephen Michael's wife, Miss Stephen Michael, went out there, held it down for him. My take on this, and Nikhil, you give it the solo look right now. But my take on this is I don't take too much from him because it's a fucking preseason game, and also it's because Caleb Williams and starters didn't play. But one thing that stood out to me is there's not a quarterback competition as far as we know. Everything that Flus has told us from the reps that's been going on, Tyson Bagent is the number 2. But Brett Rippon was looking pretty good yesterday, man. Brett Rippon was looking pretty good. 3 touchdowns. He was getting the ball out quick. Yeah, definitely has a better arm than Bajan. Now Bajan's a lot more mobile, more current era quarterback than Rippon is, but he went out there, had a big game, 3 touchdowns, only had 2 incompletions. But what stood out to me was looked like an actual NFL offense from the play calls. I was like, okay, this actually looks how like it's supposed to look. And that was the main thing that stood out to me. But besides that, there's not too much you can take from this. We still got 3 more preseason games left. I know some people, not a lot, some people were upset about, Caleb and them not playing, but I was perfectly fine with it, man. If you look at some of the players out there, they're out there fighting for their lives with, the second string and third string. You don't want to put your prized possession, your prized future quarterback out there against them. And they also were in a conversation with D'Amico Ryans and, the Texans head coach about who was going to play and who wasn't going to play. So I was fine with that. Dante, man, what'd you take, if anything, from this, preseason game last night?
I think you hit the nail on the head with we actually look like an offense. A lot of times with the Bears, we struggle to, really institute the forward pass, which sounds fucking insane in today's game. But we really have for years struggled to pass the football. I remember, when we had Mitch, they were saying, Mitch can only throw to the right. If he got to turn around, he's cooked. So, it really looked and this was with the backups, but it just looked more fluid. So a lot of 2 tight end sets, a lot of sets where the tight ends were moving up the field. And I was just thinking about, like I said in the chat, these same plays, but with Cole Kmet and Jared Everett. This is just going to be a different offense. And then, locking DJ down. So, Caleb really has a core that he's going to grow with for the next 5 years. And so I'm really just excited to see what they do with it because, the sky's the limit.
Go ahead, Bang. What you take from yesterday?
Man, I was looking at schemes. That's what I was looking at. I was trying to look and see what schemes we're implementing, how the team was going to look with those schemes, offensive and defensively. I wasn't necessarily looking at anything else after that. Maybe to see if a player or 2 might step up. My man, number 80, I think Colin Johnson is his name, but he definitely stood out. Brett Ripken did stand out, but I really want to look at scheme, and you said it right. We look like we're a real offense, and it did make me excited to see how the starters would look in this. And it just so happens that even though it's preseason, we're going to have a slate of great teams that we're going to be playing against this preseason. So I will definitely be looking at how the scheme works against top flight competition.
Yeah, and the thing with the scheme is everything, because the scheme we've been seeing the last couple years, more specifically, but definitely just in our time as Bears fans in general, has been god awful. But I liked the play calls last night. I really like how those looked. When they had screens, the running backs ran forward. I'm keeping up with my Khalil Herbert is going to get cut or traded thing. They had him out there with the seconds and with the thirds a lot, and
looking like a man.
Yeah, he was looking great, but I'm still sticking with I don't think he's gonna be on the roster. I personally would keep him, but I think that Ryan Poles is very high on not Khalil Herbert, but Roschon Johnson. So I think that's something to look out for as well. Speaking of Caleb Williams has been on I don't say promo tour, but he's done a lot of media as we're getting closer and closer to the season. It's been kind of weird as a Bears fan, outside of just being a Bears media member, but being a Bears fan, to see the Bears be the talk of conversation. We had the Hard Knocks trailer drop, which I'll get y'all opinion on that in just a second. But Caleb, he had a nice 20-minute interview with Courtney Cronin, real good interview. He's very media trained. He gives off LeBron as far as media training, where I don't think you'll be able to slip him up. It's like his brain is moving 100 miles per hour, thinking of an answer. My guy Herb Howard from the Bigs asked him a really good question a couple days ago about was there anything in his game that he's still working on and he's not 100% confident yet. Caleb sat there for like a minute and actually thought about that question so he wouldn't get tripped up. Everything in his answer of Courtney Cronin, it was real media-like. Same thing with his sideline interview with Lisa Salters, and he had a really good interview today on First Take with Stephen A. Smith and Kimberly A. Martin and Molly Querim. They tried to trip my boy up a little bit too with the CJ Stroud thing, but he held it down. Before we get into the actual preseason snaps we want to see from him, What did y'all think about the Hard Knocks trailer? Bang, I'll go to you first.
Loved it. Can't wait. Excited. Man, um, we're not used to seeing this team in this light, in any light like this. So, man, it feels very, very good to actually be in this position to where we get to see the team and we get to be excited about it. But Hard Knocks is going to be Hard Knocks. It could have been, I hate to say it, could have been the Detroit Lions. I would have been excited because it's Hard Knocks. It's just good to see the Bears in this light.
Dante, what you think?
Oh no, 10 out of 10. I think it's gonna be one of the best Hard Knocks. And it's one of those moments I don't mind being selfish and saying that, as a Bears fan. But no, I think it's gonna be pretty great. Something that, for years the franchise has strayed away from. But once again, this is a new era. And this is just further proof of that. This is another example of us walking in that right direction. So I'm hella excited. I think it's gonna be dope.
One thing I loved about the trailer is it leaned into the history of the Bears, which they always do. But I like how they merged it with the current. And I've also been the same page with Dante as I don't want to see 1985 shit anymore. But I feel like they merged it pretty well. With the first of all, Hard Knocks music is just fire every time they play, no matter what fucking team it is.
Not only Hard Knocks, let me just say that not only Hard Knocks, but anytime you talk about anything NFL related,
yeah.
When they come with the music, like if you listen to what's that, John Facenda and the Frozen Thunder, like the NFL gets it right when it comes to the music, the background, the montages, building up the suspense, all of that. They production level insane.
NFL films will make going to the grocery store sound like it's like life changing. Like, and he went through the produce aisle, and he's going for the kale. Like that's how it would be if they did that. Like anything that is exciting. It started off with the Eberflus speech, which I thought was Mike Dicker. I thought it was Mike Dicker or George Hallis. They actually showed him, like, oh shit, that's Flus. And then showing how I like how they did like the history, and so like they showed like all the different things from the Bears past, and even one of the clips where Mike Singletary, one of the famous Mike Singletary NFL clips. That's my kind of party. And like they mixed it. It went from like Gale Sayers, Dick Buckus, Jim McMahon, Dicker, Sweetness, Roma Dunze, Urlacher. Like I love how it went all through the eras and all the way up top, and then leading to Roger Goodell calling out Caleb Williams' name when he got drafted. So I think it's gonna be dope. They've been recording a lot. Of course, I've only seen what they recorded doing on the field and doing press conferences. That everything else on the other side of Hallis Hall that I'm not allowed in. I don't know what they shot. They put up a clip yesterday from Hard Knocks where they did the rookie thing. Rookies go over there, introduce themselves, and tell each other what their signing bonus is. And Caleb went over there and said the signing bonus was $25.5 million. And the whole entire room erupted. And Ryan Poles had that look like, yeah, that's how much we paid him. So it looks dope for me. It's gonna debut this upcoming Wednesday. So of course we'll be talking about that on the main show. I was gonna do Patreon shows, but we got enough Patreon shows right now. And all our schedules are ridiculous. So we're just gonna add that to the local hour. We're gonna talk about those shows, man. But speaking of Caleb, Dante, we heard that Caleb's gonna be playing 45 to 55 snaps this preseason. Do you want to see those broken up into all 3 games, or do you think you'd rather see him just these next 2 and then give him that last game off?
When I really think about it, I'd rather see you break it up over 3 games, even if in the 3rd game he only plays like 2 series, simply because I want to see him get as many reps as possible. So, it's one of those things where you could have a set amount of reps for the 1st game, 2nd game, like, they usually play the whole first half. So, and with that 2nd game, I think if he gets hot, let him play, the first couple series of the 3rd quarter, and then we ain't got to worry about the last playoff game. But if it's one of those things where he's still growing and he's still showing, it's a work in progress, then I would extend it to that 3rd game.
Bang, what you think about that? Where you going with it?
No, I'll break that up. Like I say, you got a nice slate of games that's coming up, especially against these AFC opponents. Some good defenses. The Cincinnati Bengals you're going to be practicing against too. So, no, you got to break that up within these next 3 games. The bulk of it should be in the first 2. And then maybe just a series or 2 for the last game of the preseason to get them ready for the Titans.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. I want to see them broken up as well. What I think is going to happen, what I want to happen is 2 different conversations. What I think is going to happen, I think he's going to play majority of them snaps. I think he'll play probably a quarter On next Saturday. And I think that the week after that, when they're playing the Bengals after they have the joint practice on that Thursday, I think he's probably gonna play a half, and then they're gonna put that nigga in saran wrap against Kansas City and just get him ready for Tennessee. Me personally, I'll split them up over 3 games. Take advantage of all these 3 games. You don't want to make the same mistakes that you made last year. I know a lot of people, fans and coaches, be super I don't want to say scary about getting hurt, but this is football. It don't matter. You can't protect niggas from getting hurt in football. As we saw Aaron Rodgers last year, he didn't really play in preseason. Fourth play of the game, pops Achilles. So it's like you can't hide yourself from that. And I think that this team made a brutal mistake, not just through the Eberflus era, but with the last 2 coaches who really haven't taken preseason that serious. And they've just come out flat like these last couple seasons. I never forget last year, that first game, we were all gassed up for that Packer game, and we just got hit in the fucking mouth. And it didn't do any better the next week against Tampa. And so they need to get off on a better start, because even though it is a last place schedule, there's some games on here that can trip you up. And I want this team to be as prepared as possible. I want Caleb to be as prepared as possible. The good thing, too, is that Caleb feels like he's itching to get on the field. He actually told us on Monday, I think it was Monday, he told us that, he wanted to play. But even Flu said it wasn't a conversation. They just told the nigga, like, yo, you're not going to play. So I want to see that this upcoming Saturday, get a lot more of that and just get into form. I know it's going to be a big game because a lot of people are expecting a lot to see Caleb said himself. Caleb ain't played a game since like November, early December, some shit like that, because USC, he didn't play in USC's bowl game, whatever the fuck they played. And so it's been a while since we've seen him on that field. And I think you got to take advantage of these next 3 weeks and see what you got in them, man, and get them ready for Tennessee, which I personally think is going to be a tough opening game, man. So let's move on to our next topic, man. The man, the myth, the legend himself, DJ Moore. DJ Moore got a big contract extension this past week, couple days ago. I think it was Tuesday night he got it. He spoke to the media on Wednesday. As you see in this picture right here, he actually wore that fucking helmet to sign the fucking contract. It's DJ's a tweet. But I like this move. $110 million. $110 million 4-year extension, 6 years in total, because he had 2 more years on his current deal. So he'll be with the Bears throughout the prime of his career. So his contract doesn't run out to 2029. Coming off career year last year, and $86 million of those guaranteed. And as you see from other receiver contracts, Justin Jefferson and guys like that who have got really paid in the contract that CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk are looking for. DJ said that really wasn't the thing he was looking for. He felt like $110 million was enough for him and his family. He was good, but more than anything, he wanted to be locked in the city. He wanted to be locked in with the Bears. And he said that he feels that Caleb's going to be a superstar, and he wanted to be around for that. Those are his exact words. So the press conference he had was fun. The best press conference I've sat in since I've been there. He was just real light. But then again, I'd be real light too if I just got, life-changing money like he just did. But he went up there, said that he celebrated his family by ordering an 8-piece family meal from Popeyes, and just talking about how he was actually pretty honest with us about he wasn't initially excited to come to the Bears. And it wasn't really about, he said he's thinking about 2 things. One, that Musa Muhammad said about Chicago wide receivers go to die. And he said, we're going to change that. But then he also said he had just built a new house in Carolina for his family, and they had just been moving into that. And as soon as he got done with the house, he got a call to even trade it. But since he's been in Chicago, said that the organization has showed him love from the jump. And he's just somewhere he wanted to be at long term, man. Dante, what you think about DJ Moore's extension? Did it shock you that it came so quickly? And what you think about him being locked in for the run, pretty much?
It didn't shock me. I'm glad it happened, because I think this is somebody who, as young as he is, he definitely should have been locked in and considered a piece of this core. And more than anything, I'm happy because it's another, weapon, a reliable weapon that Caleb can count on. And so this is only going to help his growth as a quarterback. So I'm glad it happened. I love the number it happened at. And I love what he said about talking to Keenan Allen about what his number is and saying, if we can get it done, let's get it done. So, imagine having this entire core locked in, for the totality of Caleb's rookie contract. Now, of course, I think Rome Odunze is going to be a dog, so we don't really need to re-sign Keenan, but it would be nice if they did it. But I mean, the fact that he left room to help other people get paid, and this is a contract that's gives us more flexibility so we can continue to add pieces. I love everything about it. And I think DJ Moore, has shown consistently that he can be a quality receiver. He's had multiple quarterbacks. This is another year with a new quarterback, but I think he's going to give you the same thing he's been giving you. Shout out to Cam. He said this on 4th and 1 today. He was like, "You never buy a house where you play at." He was like, just being realistic. He said, "Don't do that." But shout out to DJ. And I'm looking forward for him in the Bears uniform for the years to come.
Well, he must not have heard Cam because DJ said on First Take today that he plans on building a house in Chicago. So, guess he didn't listen.
But in Chicago.
Yeah, it's Chicago though. It's Chicago though.
Like he got to get us some nice property in Lake Forest, Deerfield, Bannockburn. You know what I'm saying? He it's better here. All right. Are you saying there's a chance, Keenan Allen? Are we saying there's a chance?
It sounded like it might be.
Like when you look and see what Ryan Poles and the team is doing, it's one of those situations where you make the team more attractive. As he said, Musha Muhammad said that this is the place where wide receivers go to die. He said he's going to change that. When you look at what he said about Justin at the end of the season and during the off season, and how he wanted him, and I think a couple of people might have been worried about the relationship of him and Caleb and how that would work out. And you can see that he says that he's going to be a superstar. He's looking and he's saying like, "Yo, we're going to change these things." When you look at, like, remember when, well, y'all might not remember, and shut up Orlando if he says something, but I remember when Reggie White signed with the Green Bay Packers, and folks was like, why is Reggie White signing with the Green Bay Packers? Like, they don't even like black people. Why are you going there? Because God told me to go there. No, the money told you to go there. But they took care of their players. They took care of their players, and Reggie White was the piece that really changed the organization and how people saw the organization. Maybe DJ Moore is that person for this Bears generation that changes how people see this program. So that maybe means that Keenan Allen says, "Hey, I'll stay. Here's my number. Let's go. Bear down." Maybe it is on the defensive side. We make a trade or so, and people are excited to come here. So I think this might be a franchise-changing moment here by DJ Moore signing with the Bears and really promoting them as well to somebody who might not be here next year.
Yeah, and he even said himself, he said as soon as he had the contract signed, and one thing I loved he said was how hype that the locker room was for him. He said it's the most turned locker room I've been in. He said everybody was excited. He said, "I'm not gonna tell you 100% what we did." But he said that champagne showers is what happened. Shout out to him. Said, didn't Brandon outshine kind of already did? Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, Brandon Marshall 100% did. Brandon Marshall was bodying. Outshine was cold too, but I feel like Outshine didn't really get great till he got like the Philly. But he was pretty good when he was in. But Brandon Marshall 100% smashed that. 100%.
Because it's only Brandon Marshall. Like we saying it like it was like more than 4. Like nah. So kinda, but right after that, what happened? Kevin White died.
I also think Moose Muhammad was mad that he was getting pushed out for Bernard Berry. And that's also where I feel like a lot of that aggression came from. But I think, Bang, you hit the nail on the head, man. This is the franchise changing move because of how the culture is with the Bears. I know we seen Amani Toomer got upset about Caleb Williams. I just want to say, who gives a fuck about what? Like the Amani Toomer thing is like when Dave Chappelle say, "What do Dixie chicks think at a time like this?" Why do I care what the third receiver on the fucking 2007 Giants got to say about a fucking Heisman winner? Like let's be real, dog. Like, and it's not like we heard just from a media source, "Oh, Caleb did this." No, Kevin Byard told Parkins and Spiegel like, "Hey, look. This is what he did, and I thought that was great." And I've only been around Kevin Byard a couple times. He definitely doesn't strike me as a nigga that if he don't like something, he ain't gonna say it. So that nigga got mad, intimidating energy. So if they had a problem with it, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have told that story like it was all good. So you see the culture changing, and just even DJ said too. They asked DJ like about the Justin Fields thing. He said, "Yeah, Justin's my man," but he said, "I saw Caleb throw. I got over that pretty quick." Like, DJ was pretty open. DJ was pretty open the other day. Like he got that money and just stopped giving a fuck. And even said today on first take, yeah, we should win 10 games because Caleb's an elite quarterback. He said, I've seen some of the practice he does. And the biggest thing that stood out to me about the Caleb love and how the franchise is changing, Mercedes Lewis, big dog. He's the vet on the team. He's the only nigga on the team that's older than me. That he said, yo, like, I've been in a lot of training camps. I've been around Aaron his whole career. He said he gives me Aaron-like vibe just when I see him throw the football. You got a vet like that who's been in the game since Bush was in office. I don't take comments like that lightly. So it definitely feels like the culture in the locker room is starting to embrace it. But DJ has the highest contract in team history. And the reason why this stands out to me because it's an offensive player doing this. Remember how long with Brandon Marshall when he wanted to get that contract extension? He eventually got it, but wasn't the number he wanted. This they had no problem giving it to him, especially early. So my question for y'all in our final Bears topic, is we don't have too much to talk about the Bears today, and we're going to bring Courtney in and we're going to talk about some baseball, is do y'all think that Ryan Poles is signaling that he's all in with the Bears, or that we're maybe a year away from that right now? What do you think about that? What this extension says about that. I go to Bang first.
Oh, he's all in. Like, I think he's all in. I think the team's all in. DJ Moore wouldn't have said that number if he didn't believe it. I saw Stephen A's face when he said it. I keep telling people, when you project, look at the schedule. And people don't necessarily go look at the Bears schedule when it comes to projection. I hear people talking about the back half of the year when they go up against Detroit and Green Bay and San Francisco. But nobody in the national media has said these two things. The Bears beat Detroit last season, and they should have beat them twice. And they don't say that the Bears were a minute and a half away from being 10-7. I see them say that the Bears is set up better than any number one team with a number one pick, but they still talk like the Bears was 3-14. So when you look at this, and I will never stop talking about this, the team was 7-10. A minute away from being 10-7, a defense who saw improvement once Montez Sweat got there, a defense who was one of the top defenses in the league in the back half of the year. And Justin, while we liked him, while we loved him, while we were skeptical about this whole thing, Justin was the quarterback. That's the place where the team improved the most, second to the wide receiver position, because it was just DJ Moore and everybody else. So when you look at the team, they improved in every area that everybody wanted them to improve in, and they have a last place schedule. The Bears ain't stupid. They know the window starts now. They look at teams like the Philadelphia Eagles and others who came off of bad seasons and they took advantage of it. You can't be in a situation like this and not be all in now. Because if you try to play that bullshit this year and not be all in, you have a decent season. Then when you want to be all in, you have a second place schedule against tougher opponents on paper. So no, they are not only all in right now, their goal is to get to the Super Bowl. And if you look at past history with teams who have went to worst to first, it happens more often in the NFL. But this is where it's different. You have a team who was the last place team in a good division that actually has a number one pick. And Scott, you said it multiple times. The force multiplier is having a great quarterback. In this situation, he can grow into being good because the team is a higher than normal. You all right, Scott? Look at you. You all right?
Hey, I was choking on some water. That's why I don't move.
But the team, like the hell? But the team is above average, and he's coming to a team that's above average. They need to stop. Just stop talking to the national media. The Bears are going to be okay. They're all in.
You know, national media is on full-on Bears watch, which I'm not falling for it this year. I'm just not. I haven't even clicked on some of these videos I've seen. I'm proud of myself. I'm telling the fans, do not take the bait. I saw one on Get Up where it said, is Caleb Williams on track to fail? I was like, my nigga, it's 8:00 in the morning. This is what we doing? Like, but I think Bang hit the
But
nail on
this
the
is
head.
gonna
I'm with you.
produce.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you, Bang. Like, to me, the window starts now. I know there's a lot of fans, and shout out my boy Greg Braggs. He went on to start like a lot of y'all acting real pussy right now about the window.
Bruh.
I know y'all scared to get y'all heart broken. That's what I've always
I
said.
told you that shit early in the day. I told you that shit already,
Yeah,
Scott. Stop.
you did. You
Stop being
did.
scared.
You did, and I came to that right side. What's called somebody in the 79th and Hallis chat yesterday put when me and my brother were talking about it, and I told Bears fans, learn to love, open your heart to love. And somebody put heartbreak is better than having no bitches. I'm like, that is correct.
Hey, that's a great quote.
That is perfect. Heartbreak is better than having no bitches. So that's how I thought was great about that. But yeah, man, my seat, man, is fucking up. Anyway, so the thing that stood out to me was the window is open because you got the last place sales. You got to take advantage of this. And if you go in next year, like, oh, we'll get them next year. It's the NFL. Anything can happen. I do believe that they're probably going to be looking at Matthew Judon. I'm really, really paying attention to that situation right there. If he doesn't get that contract extension, he already, the reporter said the Patriots offered him something. And Matthew Judon tweeted, nah. I think that has to be something we're going to monitor because I do believe Poles is putting all his chips in. Dante, what do you think?
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I think it's set up for us to go all in, but I think the all in may not look how Bears fans want it to look. Like I think it's an all in where he can still be strategic and patient with the money that he spends. So he's gonna blow a bag, but it's like I don't need to just run out here and overpay somebody, and that's something that we've seen for years, and where we've had to overpay people to come play for the Bears. But now, when you have everything that they've built and the success is about to show on the field, it's to a point now where I don't have to go out and try to get every piece right now. Now, if Caleb starts going off, then I think you could see him like we know Poles in his midseason trades. We could see him be a little more aggressive and try to really set us up to go all in this year. But I think right now he is going all in, but it may not, look how Bears fans expect it to look, where he just starts throwing money around at everybody. Because as we've seen, Poles has a plan. He stuck to that plan, and so far he hasn't. The only real miss is the Chase Claypool trade. That's really the only miss we can talk about. So for me, I'm still being, optimistic that he'll make another move. But I think, it's at the point where he's definitely going to do that.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I do think he's going to monitor that and might make another trade deadline move. That's going to be a funny day because it's going to be trade deadline and election day. Yeah, that's going to be one of them days where I just plug in my phone and sit next to an outlet.
I know I'm going to have to.
Yeah, you definitely going to have two set up that day. But
I had the laptop, my desktop, my iPad, my phone. It's going to be lit that day.
As you can see, we've got Courtney here. Courtney, this is probably a dumbass question, but how are you feeling?
I feel like shit, but we out here.
You're doing a flu game today.
Yeah,
just so y'all know that I'm not a tyrant. I did give Courtney the option to take today off. She decided to hold it down.
That was never an option, you guys.
No, that was an option. What?
He said, and I quote, "You better get your black ass in
the Orlando gonna come whoop your ass, man.
You did not say that. You did not say
I did not say that.
No.
What are you talking about, Scott?
I got a little cup of tea going. We're good. After this, I'm gonna take a Benadryl and pass out.
That's I mean,
Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. He said Bang has this two-way setup. That was
you know what?
That was that. We're gonna talk some Chicago baseball. Bang, you can take a little 20-minute breather, and we'll bring him back in a minute. But yeah, so the MLB trade deadline is a wrap. He said, "I've seen some chicken soup." This fucking guy. This guy.
Do not eat that. Do not eat that soup.
Do not eat that soup. Yeah, we don't know what's in that nigga kitchen, man. But yeah. So trade deadline passed a couple days ago. The White Sox and the Cubs both made some deals. Like I said, the best decision I've made in my life the last year was giving up the Chicago White Sox. I don't know how y'all niggas do it. I'm gonna give the floor to Dante. I thought originally that Mikey was gonna be on, but Mikey got stuff to take care of this week and next week, so he'll be off. Dante, I'm gonna give you the floor, man. Go ahead, talk about your beloved baseball team.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, this was the first year where we were supposed to, quit the White Sox, but Mikey and I, we just couldn't put that narcotic down. We have still been tapped in to the things going on 35th and Shields, and it's a shit show. Like, we're on pace for the worst record in MLB history. We called it before the year, by the way. Like, long before spring training, we said this team is going to be historically bad, and it has been that. But the thing that's really, disappointing is that not only are they historically bad on the field, they have a historically bad front office. The man Chris Getz, who was in charge of player development, who didn't develop a single fucking player, has now, went through his first trade deadline, and they got hosed on every trade. I mean, I know there was a recent poll that came out that said that the White Sox mysteriously now have a top 3 farm system. I don't know how the fuck that's possible. That has to be a joke. And so when I started doing my notes for the rent, which typically I don't even do notes for the rent, I just go off the top of the head. But with this, I feel like we needed to be really, really transparent about how fucking terrible this franchise is, just to put it in perspective. The White Sox have existed for 124 seasons. They've made the playoffs 11 times in 124 years. They have 3 championships in those 124 seasons. 2 of those 3 happened before it was actually called the World Series. And 2 of those 3 happened 30 years before Jackie Robinson broke the fucking color barrier. So we're talking about a team that, in terms of the modern era of baseball, like, we're talking about historically bad. Past 10 seasons, you have a win percentage of 44.5%. You made the playoffs twice. Those back-to-back playoff appearances, which one was a COVID year, so damn near that shit don't count. The 2 times you made it back-to-back were the first time in franchise history you actually made it back-to-back. Before you made the playoffs, you have missed it 11 straight fucking seasons. Like, this team, when we talk about what are they doing, they're doing what they always do. They suck. Like, this is not a good franchise. And, it's at the point now where if you're a White Sox fan, you realize that you love the South Side. You don't love this team because this team don't love you. Like, every time I try to just find a reason to keep going and keep saying, okay, we could do this, we could do that, it's not gonna happen, bro. Like, I've accepted the fact that I love this team because my family grew up on 47th and Shields. That is why I like the White Sox. No other reason. It's damn sure not because they are a good baseball team. They are not a good baseball team. They don't develop talent. They don't draft well. And guess what? In the next couple of years, you're going to trade Garrett Crochet. Lewis Robert is going to be gone. I don't know who the fuck is going to play for this team. I'm sure Colson Montgomery is going to come up, be great, and then they're going to get rid of him. Like, that's just what we do. So I think for all White Sox fans, just honestly enjoy the tailgate. We're one of the few baseball teams to do that. That's all I got. If you want to expect winning, anything like that, fun baseball, this is not the team for you until the roster sell the team. That's it. That's all.
Or you could just give the fuck up. That's what you could do. I'm from the South Side.
I don't believe in financially or emotionally supporting bad teams and bad products.
Yeah, I love the South Side. I'm from the South Side. My pop's family's from the South Side. My name, my podcast is 79th and fucking Hallis. Having said all of that, no, nigga, enough is enough. Like you just said, these niggas have made the playoffs 3 times in modern Western civilization. 3 times, my nigga. Yeah. Do I still watch the Chicago Bulls? Yeah, I do. Are they mediocre? Yeah. Outside of mediocre, they're straight up ass.
What's the difference?
Huh?
What's the difference? They're owned by the same person.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna tell you the difference between them. The difference is it's like when somebody lie to you, but you know they lying, but it's a good lie. The Bulls give me a good lie. At least I can watch them in the play-in. They might sneak in the playoffs every year. I have seen the White Sox. I am gonna be 36 in 3 months. I have seen the White Sox in the playoffs 3 times, my nigga. 3. And they got lucky 1 time. I watched The Last Dance for the rest of my goddamn life. That 6 years is enough than anything these niggas did.
That's fair.
At least they own their draft picks. The worst part for the White Sox is they have the worst record maybe in league history, and they're not gonna be able to benefit off it.
Nor should they. The White Sox don't deserve a top 10 draft pick because they've consistently been fucking mediocre. I hate that idea. I'm glad that they don't have a top 10 draft pick. Fuck them.
How about this? Just more, salt in the wound. Me and Scott were born in 1988. Since 1988, they've made the playoffs 6 times. That's 35 years.
1988. Damn.
6 times, and relax. Relax. The White Sox.
The White Sox. Name them
6 times. They made it in 2021, in 2020. They made it in 2008. We won the World Series in 05. They made it in 2000, and they made it in 1993.
That's tragic.
Okay. That's tragic.
That's tragic. You remember that.
How many times have the Bulls made the playoffs since 2000? I know it's more than 6.
It's at least 10 times.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We've been to remember all the way back to 1993. I wasn't even alive yet. Okay, that's crazy.
We don't have too many things to cling to here. Like, we're not old though. First of all, that's ridiculous. But no, it's bad.
I wasn't
bad
alive yet. But go ahead, Courtney. Is there anything else you had on the White Sox?
No, I mean, Dante, you summed it up perfectly. There's nothing. I'm not from Chicago. My closest experience I have to Chicago is simply just growing up in the South and in Alabama and listening and watching and going to Birmingham Barons games. That's the only reason why I have even like a slight little space in my heart for the White Sox. But other than that, man, fuck that organization. And I feel, you know what? And I know this is not my award to give, and I know that's later in the show, but Goofy Mog, Garrett Crochet, count your fucking days, bro. Count your fucking days. Oh, I don't want to pitch for someone if I'm not playing in the or if I'm not getting I don't want to pitch in the postseason if I'm not getting an extension. What the fuck have you done to substantiate even deserving an extension coming off Tommy John? We don't even know what you can do. Yeah, you've been a Bugatti in a fucking trailer park. Congratulations. Like, you got some fucking nerve being that entitled. Crazy.
I'm going to tell you what Garrett Crochet really meant with that. That nigga said, yes, this team sucks. But if you think I'm giving up my homes and my nice downtown apartment to go to Baltimore, you got me fucked up. That's what that meant. Nigga, you not low. I know that nigga don't give a fuck about winning the playoffs. He ain't trying to leave Chicago. That's what that shit is. My question for you, Dante, before we move on to the other sorry-ass Chicago baseball team is, I know you and Mikey y'all were expecting a lot about Luis Robert in trade. Are you actually shocked that Luis didn't get traded?
Somewhat, bro. But at the same time, when I took emotion out of it and just take a step back, he's had one really successful season. Like the same way I talk about Josh Chisholm, the same way you can talk about Luis Robert, where it's just been all projections, well, he can do this. Oh, he's a Cuban Mike Trout. We've heard that for years, but he's only had one season where he actually put it together. So with the struggles and the inconsistency and the things you hear about, just his work ethic and everything, I don't know if too many teams, like you said, too many teams were really going to be beating down the door to get him. But I did think like maybe the Dodgers, maybe the Braves, a team that was looking for a little pop in the outfield would look out. But I mean, when you go on the player's page and he's eating Domino's pizza every fucking day, it's not too much to be excited about. So I guess I shouldn't be shocked.
This nigga been here for how many years now? And he eating Domino's still, nigga. Get some actual pizza.
Hey, you live in Chicago? You can't get some.
Oh, you've been in Chicago for what? Like, how long he been here? What, 5 years? Or just some actual pizza, bro?
The more curious trade for me, and it's not, I mean, listen, the White Sox, they had to get rid of him at some point, right? Like, he had to go. But in Baltimore, they traded for Eloy. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't see how, unless they're what, just to come off the bench and like hit? Because imagine him trying to field in that left field in Baltimore. Like I'm not seeing that. Great.
Oh, that's super good.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing how that is a good play for them again, unless he is going to be a DH type for them. But
I'm finna tell y'all what's going to happen.
Somebody's got to make a new graphic of him in the clouds that looks like he died.
I'm finna tell you what's gonna happen this October. It's gonna be an extra inning game in the NL, in the ALDS or the ALCS, Baltimore against probably the Yankees or some shit like that. And there's a base runner on second, and they decide to bring Eloy Jimenez off the bench. You're gonna have whoever the fuck the announcer is talking about. Well, he was a high prospect in the Dylan Cease trade. I mean, and he came over, had his moments, but not really that big. We'll see if he can deliver in this big moment. It's like, and that ball's going deep. Eloy Jimenez gives the Orioles lead. It's gonna be one of them things because it always happens in Chicago sports. Michael Kopech's gonna shut down multiple people in the International League coming out that bullpen for the Dodgers. It's gonna happen because that's just how it is. They were bums here, but watch they be at least somewhat decent somewhere else. What was that? I didn't expect those two to go. Also when I was looking at the lineup, I think
for nothing. for like nothing. The fact that and that's the crazier part about it. Listen, I know that in the wise words from The Wire, yesterday's price is not today's price. Or no, Fat Joe.
That's not the Wire. That's not the Wire.
Disrespect. Fat Joe. Yesterday's price is not today's price. So the Astros getting fleeced by the Blue Jays for the return for Kikuchi. I'm just curious as to why Michael Kopech, who arguably has been a better pitcher this year, than a lot of people, why that return was so. They got fleeced.
Because
tell me, Dante.
Because the GM is a jackass. That's why. Like, there should be no expectations. Like, he's an idiot.
That don't make no sense.
Only the White Sox would hire a nigga whose sole job was to develop the players who are prize prospects in this rebuild. Not do it and think, you know what? That nigga should be general manager. Only the White Sox. And I feel bad for the diehard watch. I don't even really feel bad for Dante and Mikey because I told them about this fucking train coming and they just refused to see the train coming. I feel bad for the other White Sox fans who still go to these fucking games, who still tweet. Like, they'll still tweet. That niggas be tweeting through the games. I'm like, nigga, who the fuck is Paul DeJong? Like, I be sitting on my timeline. I'm like, what the? I didn't know that this, like, I didn't know that fucking Tommy Pham was still in the league until he started fighting niggas. Like, that's how
the Cards quietly had a nice little deadline, which is wild because, again, there are, like, and it kind of pivots perfectly into the next topic, right, which is the Cubs. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Nah, go ahead.
But it kind of pivots into it perfectly because the Cubs, Jed Hoyer already said that they, were focusing on 2025 and beyond, right? So they made that move to trade Christopher Morel to the Rays. And listen, I'm a little nervous about how Paredes' bat might play. If you look at his spray chart, all of his home runs are to left field. If you know anything about Wrigley, of course, it's 355 feet. It's the deepest left field in Major League Baseball. I'm just worried how that's going to translate for him as a hitter who's can seemingly only hit to left field. I'm a little worried about that, but they're only 6 games back in the wild card hunt right now too. You very well could have made a play.
It's fool's gold unless you like one of the teams who get hot. If you're behind 5 games, that's just shit you tell yourself to keep watching the game every night. The Cubs ain't making the fucking playoffs. And I told Cubs fans years ago, I was like, look, nigga, y'all won that championship. Rick is going to be like, all right, cool. I'm not finna be spending no more money. I don't know what the hell these niggas is doing. Like, I'm like, from what I know about this guy, he's a decent third baseman. If you're thinking for the next couple of years, like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what their plan is. They have a highly ranked farm system, as we know. That don't mean much nowadays. And the Cubs' biggest issue is they keep acting like they're not the fucking Cubs. They're acting like they are a small town city.
It's like the Yankees.
Yeah, Yankees doing the same shit. Yeah, that's weird. Like, I don't know what they're doing over there. Dante, do you have any idea what they're doing over there on the north side?
No, like I said, at this point, we grasping their straws, and maybe we thinking like, did they tell council like, hey, yeah, this year we're gonna see what you can do with the talent on the roster, see how we can finesse this, and then next year we'll spend a couple $. But even with that, every year we've seen them not spend money. So it's like, at what point are they gonna say, okay, yeah, we're gonna get one of these big fish that's on the market? They scoffed at Shohei, didn't even try. You overpaid for Dansby. It's just been a lot of misses. Seiya has been up and down, but he's been solid. Shada was solid at the beginning of the year. He's starting to come back around. So it's just, with the Cubs, I won't say frustrating because I really don't give a fuck about the Cubs, but it's just a puzzling situation because it's like this is a team that has the money to do the stuff that they say that they want to do, but they just won't do it. And then every year they'll give you the promise, the idea of, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and make some additions. We want to compete this year. No, you don't. And spend your biggest offseason move being your manager is not a team that wants to fucking contend. Like, I'm sorry, it's just not. So I mean, like I said, at this point, we're really grasping their straws because I don't know what they're doing. Like your farm system, we keep talking about that. Like, if you're trying to catch lightning in a bottle again, like you did in 2016, I just don't think that's smart. Because look at, you got the ring, you broke the curse, but look at the people who broke the curse. They're all terrible now. So you telling me you're gonna go and do the same thing again, try to get one, and then just sell pieces off? No, you're trying to, have sustained success. So like, there's something has to give, but this ain't it.
Yeah, all the niggas suck. Like, I think the one who Rizzo should get shitted on more. Like, I like he's been, because he a Yankee. They just don't talk about.
But no, the only reason I won't is we've seen concussions ruin people's career. So like, we saw it with Justin Morneau. Sidney Crosby, I know this is hockey, but he sat out for like a fucking full season. So like, I know we let football players mess up our perception of concussions, but like,
that's they're not sane individuals.
Yeah, that's no joke. You shouldn't get a concussion and play the next week. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But like, so like Rizzo, I stalled him out because he did have those concussions.
Football is the only place where you can get like rocked, and then a nigga be like, I don't know, he might be good on Thursday. Like, what are we talking about? Like, no, he's not. Like, no, he's not. Like, it'd be funny. Like, what they did 2 years ago was ridiculous. I thought that nigga was going down the field, bro. Like,
no, that was crazy.
It was so wild for how they handled that situation. So I don't know. Does Chris Bryant even on MLB roster? Like, a lot of Javi, I forgot he was in Detroit. Like, all those dudes.
Chris is hitting sub 200. Like, in Colorado, he has 2 home runs. He plays for Colorado. Nigga. Like, no, that's not the move.
We're gonna go a little break right now. We're gonna be back in about 16 seconds for hour number 2. We're gonna talk about the NABJ fiasco that happened with Donald Trump being there. We'll talk about that. I'll talk about Team USA. We're gonna go through MLB trade deadline winners and losers, and then we're gonna start our inside series, but this time on the AFC with the AFC North. So we'll be right back in about 16 seconds.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the...
And we are back. Got the full squad back here, man. Man, we on time today. I told y'all we was gonna be on schedule today. We actually a couple minutes ahead of what I was trying to do today, so that's good, man. But back at it, man. Hour 2. Let's talk about currently what's going on in Chicago. That is the NABJ conference, which goes on. I don't know. Is it an every year thing or is it every couple years?
It's every year. It's
every year thing. Bang, you on mute. About what's going on with Black journalists and things like that. And it's usually I'm almost every year. I know a whole bunch of people that's part of NABJ. It's they've done a lot of things and things like that. But the biggest issue that they're facing right now is inviting presidential nominee, former President Donald Trump, to speak to their panel. Got a lot of heat on the internet, not just internet, just in general. And there's a lot of people out there that's like, oh, well, we got to hear him out. And just because, you're going to vote blue doesn't mean that we don't need to hear him out. There's a couple problems with this. One, we found out that Kamala Harris obviously couldn't make it because she had to attend the funeral. She agreed to be on a Zoom, and they didn't agree to do the Zoom with Kamala. Instead, having Donald Trump in person. I don't like really talking politics, especially not on this platform, but with stuff like this, I feel like we got, because this is where sports and politics kind of intertwine here. It was a dumbass move. It was a stain that I don't think is going to be removed any time from now. Even when they explained it, the people who put it together, it was worse and worse and worse. You can't take a nigga like Donald Trump and hear him out unless you have not been paying attention to anything over this last decade of him either being in elections, being president, running for it, committing 34 felonies and not going to jail. He's a guy that you can't change his mind. That's like saying, hey man, I think we should hit Hitler out. Like, no, nigga, there's some people you just can't hear out, bro. And he did exactly what we thought he was going to do and made the NABJ and especially the moderators they had up there look like absolute fools. You played yourself. And this is something where a lot of people got to stop playing the fence on this type of situation. Because you're stepping into dangerous territory at this point. This dude does not give a fuck about black people. He doesn't even give a fuck about some of the white people that vote for him. Like there's a lot of lower class, poor white people who vote for Donald Trump. He don't give a fuck about y'all. But the way he talks, if he's talking like this, like he talked to those two black women on stage, if he talks like them to that in public, imagine what he's saying behind the scenes. And I just thought it was something that, as great as the NABJ is, and as much as they've offered for black journalists, and I can't shit on things they've done because they've done a lot of things. And I know a lot of people who are part of the NABJ. I was just with some last night. But this right here is a colossal L for them. I think that stank's gonna be there on there for a minute and really put a damper on this convention these last couple of days. And I just don't understand because, after a while, I think this election in general is not something we have to hear me out for either side. I really think that majority of the people who are gonna be voting know who they're gonna vote, and you just shouldn't be able to give that guy a platform, man. And that's pretty much what I feel about that situation. Bane, what you think about how this came about, how it was handled? Do you think this is something that's going to linger a while for the NABJ?
Nah, first of all, let me say this. The whole point of journalism is to be unbiased. It's the whole point. So I'm not mad at the NABJ having Donald Trump. I am not a Trump supporter. I am not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I am as independent can get. So I have no qualms in them doing that because the whole point of journalism is to be unbiased. However, you know who he was when you got here, so you don't have to do certain things to upset the brand and keep your space as safe as you can. And I think if anything, it's a learning. It's a learning for journalists out there, and just the whole thing. See, the thing is Trump has not been nice to black journalists in the first place. He is trashed April Ryan and others, but April Ryan went to she went to the White House every day during his time as president, and spoke and asked questions to the president. She did not leave. She did not go, but she went into his house. The difference is that Trump was coming to our house. So there's an unbiased nature of all of this. But if you know this man, you know things are not going to change. It was going to be what we thought it was. So then you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? I don't think it was worth it for the NABJ or anybody involved. I think both sides look like crap. But the whole thing about a journalist and some things that we get killed for is the fact that we need to be neutral in some standings. So that's why sometimes you have to allow people in spaces that they don't belong. But you just got to choose wisely. And I don't think they did this time.
I'm gonna push back on that just a little bit, just because if he was a somewhat rational human being, I would agree with you.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that whole point of this is to be unbiased. I just don't think that. I don't even think they had the opportunity to be unbiased. Like, look, let's be real. And I know Dante can speak to this even more than I can. There's going to be implicit bias, though, in everything. And you are going to have somebody that's up there that is for. You're going to have somebody that's against. You're going to have people in that crowd for. You're going to have people in that crowd against. So if you were to not allow him to come in, there are going to be reporters that are Republicans that's going to be like, yo, why won't you hear his voice? Like, we have to understand that there are people who are for this man, and there are black people that are for this man. That's why it's very important to be unbiased. But in knowing that, are you willing to be that unbiased that it causes chaos in your organization? That's why it's not worth it. Because if you doing this is going to cause an issue within your organization, then it is best to pass and try to do it on your own time. If Donald Trump was like, yo, we want to interview with J.R. Bang, who am I to say no? I'm not going to say no, but I'm going to. And here's the other part. They negotiate the terms of these interviews with the president. So all of those people that's like, yo, we didn't have a man and all this, like he was going to come up there in a way that he was going to negotiate and what fits best for them. So some people think you can control a situation. You can't control anything with him. So they shouldn't have done it in the first place because how volatile things would be in the first place. You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. But the whole part of our job when it comes to this is to be unbiased. And when it comes to this man, it is very hard for people to be unbiased, whether you're for him or against him. There's nothing in the middle. So being that there's nothing in the middle, sometimes you just got to leave well enough alone. But if you leave well enough alone, you can't invite Kamala in there either. That's the issue. If you're trying to get Kamala, you're trying to get Trump, you get both of them, or you don't get any of them. And the minute they said no to Kamala is the minute they should have said no to Trump.
Oh, I agree on that. Dante, what you feel about this whole situation?
Disappointing. It's disappointing simply because I understand the premise. I understand the idea because JR is 100% right. As journalists, we are supposed to be, neutral in a lot of situations, especially politically. But this is one situation where we can say for certain that this person has no intentions on actually not only being neutral, but actually coming into that space and being open and honest about what he wanted to do. Everything he's done has been, self promotion, just really just narcissistic shit. He can't say 5 sentences without talking about himself in 3 of them. Like it's something that we've seen this entire time. So I understood why, but I think especially with NABJ being what it is, and you have people who come from around the country who want to use this as a time to network with other Black journalists, get jobs, meet people that they really look up to and try to get some career advice. I don't think this was the person to bring into that scenario. Now, if you could have had him and Kamala, that looks great because now you look like we've just sat here and pretty much finessed the presidential debate for y'all. And so that looks a lot different. That's easy to present. But when you just bring Trump in and say, well, we're going to hear him out for what? Like in any other scenario, like if this was John McCain, if this was Mitt Romney, if this was any other Republican who actually has some fucking sense, and we can sit there and have these conversations, that's completely different. But we know what Trump has been. We know what the MAGA Republicans are like. I'm with you, Bang. Like it's this thing where it's like I'm not against having a conversation with anybody, Democrat, Republican, all of that. That's how we actually get things done. Everybody wants to be on the left or the right, but you got to meet in the middle and actually have these conversations, and that's how we can figure shit out and move forward. So that's not an issue. But the issue is when the person that you're having a conversation with has shown you that they're disingenuous. They're showing you that, yeah, I'm going to say one thing, but I'm going to do something else. Like the lies about the HBCU funding, the lies about being the best president for Black people since Abraham Lincoln, which is a nut-ass statement to make in the first place. Yeah. It seems like it's one of those things where the only, I guess, silver lining is now you have put him on this platform. He made a fool of himself. And now if you were a person that's on the fence, like I don't see how you vote for him. I mean, I haven't seen it for a while, but at the same time, like you said, vote for who you vote for. But right now, after seeing that, I don't know how you as a Black person or damn near anybody could watch that and say, yeah, that's who I want to lead my country.
But the crazy thing is, Dante, is I had jumped on a live with a Spaces. I've never been on Spaces before. So like,
I saw you in Space the other day.
That's the first time and the last time I'll be in the Space. But I did a Spaces. Shouts out to Bree Specific and Cody over there at What's the Word TV. They did a space talking about this situation, and there's going to be people who vote for this man. It was some.
I'm gonna go even further in a minute. Go ahead.
Like it was this chick that was on there that was like, the Republicans don't do this. I mean, the Democrats don't this. Democrats don't do that. And you need to get away from that. And look. The best thing that I could tell for Black folks, for me, if I had to speak to Black America, is fuck a party. That's it. Like, vote for your interest, because at the end of the day, people keep saying Black America, but this is not a monolith. Everybody is not going to vote for who you want to. White people don't do that shit either. Go look at Gore and Bush. It was split, and Bush barely won. And there was white people that was down there crying, and there was other white people that was cheering, and he got 2 terms. So black people that be getting mad when people be like, "Hey, you gotta stop voting Democrat." So the choice is to vote Republican? No, I'm going to vote for the person that's best for me and what I feel like I need out there to get my best interest at heart. And then knowing that, yes, it's going to be some people that look at that because it was and say, "Oh, Trump killed it. He did this and he did that." And those are the people that I don't want to talk to. But quite honestly, I don't want to talk to Democrats that's like, "See, we told you," because I already know. I already knew this was going to happen. Tell me what you're going to do to fix the shit that I feel like needs to get fixed. And ain't nobody really said that yet. Kamala ain't even came out with a platform yet. Trump crazy. When it happens, I know who I'm voting for in general, period. And it ain't gonna be Trump. Like, let me just say that right there. But this country has gotten so divided about who they're voting for. Just put it bluntly. We got a whole bunch of GDs and vice lords in suits and shit, and business suits and shit that's mad at each other right now, and they're fighting for their best candidate to win. That's what it is. That's simple. The more we realize that, especially in Chicago, that these are 2 rival gangs is mad and they want who they want up in office, it'll make yourself feel better at night voting for who you want to vote for.
I think I put it like this. I think that yes, I feel like the country is as most divided as it's been. I'm not gonna say ever because I ain't been here forever, but at least in my time of being an adult that I can remember. And I think all this stems from Obama presidency. There's a lot of people who are upset that a black man held the highest position in the land for 8 fucking years. You know what I'm saying? Not only held it, he blew his opponents out. Like, it wasn't even close. Especially the Romney. He washed Mitt Romney. So that's why I think it started from. But I think all the things you're saying, Bang, is correct as far as like vote for who you want to vote for. If this was a regular election, we talked about this a little bit on summer sessions. What happened to regular Republicans? What happened to regular Democrats? What happened to actual regular politicians? Well, like, it was just other stuff. Like, this to me is other world things that's going on right now.
But it's niggas that want this Project 2025 shit. It's niggas who want this Handmaid's Tale shit.
And there's the reason, but here's the reason for that too. I also think a lot of niggas, I mean black men, I think what's gonna come closer as we get to the election, because I'm not really looking at polls and shit like that. We're still 3 months out. I think a lot of this shit is gonna change. I think when it comes to actual voting day, November 5th, there's gonna be a lot of black men, a lot of men in general, but a lot of black men who are gonna have a hard time voting for a black woman. That's what I think it comes from. And I think a lot of niggas, I see this on Twitter, and I even have people who I know, who I talk to, who tell them like a lot of them just like the act of Trump. Sometimes people think of not their current situation that they're in financially, but maybe something future. They're thinking about taxes that they're not even being taxed right now. You broke as hell. Are you thinking about what's going on with the rich bracket? You're not in that, but too many black men think about that anyway. And some people might get mad at you for that shit. Whatever it is, I'm not sitting up here talking about I'm Democrat or Republican, whatever. I don't have a party that I choose. I just know the difference between a regular politician and a fucking lunatic. That's the difference between it. If this was a regular, just a regular, any type of Republican thing, whatever, yeah, hear him out, whatever. This type of nigga, you can't hear out, bro. You just can't. So I feel like all the logical stuff when it comes to actually hearing people out and what journalists are supposed to do. Journalists are supposed to be non-biased. And I think that's something that's missing, not just in sports media, but in many media in general. Dan Le Batard says it all the time. Journalism is dead. If it's not dead, it's on life support. So I definitely feel like journalists are needed. I don't consider myself a journalist whatsoever. I don't have any journalistic integrity. I'm here to entertain and nothing else. I don't give a fuck about not being biased. So y'all can take that shit somewhere else. So I think the people who do that need to have that platform. And if Donald Trump was even a halfway rational human being, even if it was on points that I don't agree with, like even if it was on stuff the Republicans usually their platform is that I don't agree with, cool, hear the nigga out. It's an election. And let's just be very clear. I'm not a massive Kamala fan either. Let's be very clear about that. I am picking the lesser of the two evils. I am not really a fan of hers at all either. So that's what to me what it comes down to. And like you just said, Bang, it's about what are you willing to risk. If this was a thing where even if they had Kamala via Zoom and you had Trump there, that makes more sense. But this just looks like Trump just came in like, oh, I'm finna show my dick and just talk what
Trump
I want
said,
to do.
"Fuck your couch, nigga." That's
Yeah,
exactly what
exactly.
he said.
That's
Literally,
exactly what he did.
nigga.
And he started off first of all like within an hour. Nobody was prepared. He went to his whole thing and people laughing like they think this is a fucking game. So that's just my personal take on it. I don't like I said I don't like talking politics. Two things I don't really talk to people: politics and religion. Whatever. That's your whole
Nigga, vote for Bang, nigga. 2024. We
vote
out here.
for Bang. Vote for. I'm not gonna hold you. 2020.
Write that motherfucker in, and I ain't gonna hold you some dude party ticket. Vote me. I got y'all. I'm holding the West Side down. Let's get it.
You know, it's two things that I'll be standing on when if I ran for office. One, all children under 10 should be banned from airplanes. Number two, dogs should not be at bars, restaurants, or anything around where the general public is eating. Those are two strong things that I vote for.
And you will be getting smoked, boy.
Yeah,
if you
try to
run on any of that.
I have 2 kids under 10, my nigga. So that's it. Fuck you.
I be up there with my platform talking about, do you really want to be relaxed on a flight and you got a little kid kicking the back of your chair?
My kids decent.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this real quick. I know since we in our political bag, and they love to weaponize the black vote, but no, white women are going to determine who win this election. Are white women going to stop voting against their own interests for the sake of voting Republican? Or are they going to vote for the person that's trying to save what they want to do? So I mean, yeah, it's going to be very interesting, but we'll see. We'll see.
I'll also say this one last thing. One thing that also, I think about these election deniers. All I'm gonna say is this: I'm not gonna believe Kamala will be president to actually see her ass getting inaugurated. Because I feel like there's other things at play here, and I'm not trying to be conspiracy brother, but I think there's other things in play behind the scenes that they're gonna try to pull out all the stops. But
this is very irresponsible.
What?
I think spreading conspiracies is very irresponsible.
That's not irresponsible. It's real shit. We live in unusual times right now. We saw somebody actually take over. So that being
said, I think it's very irresponsible to spread this idea that they're not going to allow the president to take power when there's currently a Democrat in office as the president right now. I just think it's irresponsible.
I mean, hey, this is an irresponsible television show. Number one. We forgot what happened on. I think anything that I think what you just matters. I think everything you said. We were living in a logical world. Yes, I would agree with you. We are not dealing.
We here at the Barbershop Network. We here at the Barbershop Network do not condone any rioters, any looters.
No, I'm not saying condone
any insurrectionists.
But get me something what we do while you're there.
Anyway,
not what we
let's
do here.
move on. Let's move on. This is not Meet the Press. We're gonna move on to our next topic.
I always wanted to be on Meet the Press though.
You did.
When I was younger, I like entertained man, I would want to be like a politician. But then when once Harold Washington died, I was like, nah, I'm straight.
Dang, I completely understand because I remember exactly where I was when Tim Russert died.
Yeah, see, yeah.
Well, I was 14 years old. Nigga, why would I know who Tim Russert was?
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Yeah, my kindergarten teacher told my mom that I was smart enough to she felt like I was smart enough to grow up to be a Supreme Court justice. Nigga, I failed everybody by not being that. I failed at Miss Bell. I failed you. I was very smart and into politics as a young kid. But when Harold Washington died, I was like, oh, I don't know.
Gee, I really think that's a Chicago thing, G. Because I ain't gonna lie, when I was a teenager, my stepfather had me over east snatching people little political signs out their front yard, swapping them out.
I majored in political science. I work in fucking sports.
You was out there doing what they had
for 2 years, and I said no fucking thank you.
Dante was out there like Randy on season 4, 5 of The Wire, handing out the Caucasian posters.
I was, boy. I really was. Get out the whip. I start walking down the block, snatch that sign, run back to the whip. We in there. We going.
Vote for Gore. But Yeah, man. Or my favorite scene on Head of State. I don't know no Nato Jacobs. You know Nato Jacobs? I don't know. I don't talk about people behind their back. I don't know no Nato Jacobs. But let's move on to actual sports here, man. We talked about last week on the show, Team USA, how they were kind of like, being too close in some of these exhibition games, barely winning, having LeBron James have to go on a kind of an NBA Finals, takeover again to beat South Sudan and close games against other teams, Canada. 2 games in, they've been watching niggas. They beat the brakes off Serbia. They beat the brakes off South Sudan the other night, and they're gonna be playing their 3rd game tomorrow morning against Puerto Rico. That should be a good one as well. And our boy Mikey, I know he's gonna be rooting for Puerto Rico. I think the number one thing that has stood out to me here is 3 words, actually 4. My bad. I sound like Charles Barkley. Kevin motherfucking Durant. That has been the difference in these 2 games. Is KD. Kevin Durant is one of the most underappreciated players in NBA history. Not all, and a lot of it's his fault. I'm not sitting up here saying that he ain't got a lot to do with it. He got a lot to do with it. It's mainly his fault, but he's underappreciated. We forget about. Courtney said, "Motherfucking can be 1 word, but it also
I was thinking
can
the same
be 2
thing,
words."
Courtney. I was thinking the same thing.
Okay, all right. Excuse me. Yeah, okay.
You got it though.
I was like, no. You were right when you said. I was like, motherfucking is a compound word. So like,
but it depends on which one. If you're trying to break it down, I was trying to be motherfucking.
I want to clarify for the record. What are you saying about him? What are you saying about?
I'm pretty sure he fucks some others. Would that 100% be wrong? He might have. He's an NBA player. I'm pretty sure he has. But that's the thing that stood out to me is how good Kevin Durant is. He stepped it up. He makes. I don't think I've ever seen anybody play basketball make the game look as easy as KD has made it look in his now 17-year career. KD got drafted right when I was graduating from high school. He's only like a year older than me, but I was graduating from high school, and that's been the difference here. And I think that one thing you see is how stacked this team is, and everybody made such a fuss about Jason Tatum not playing in the other game. I'm like, and then they had him start against South Sudan. That was very much, damn, Gina, I will marry you. That's basically what Steve Kerr was doing, starting Jason Tatum. Like, that's just really what it got. If this team is so stacked, you're gonna have teams where he's not gonna get minutes. We saw Embiid didn't really get him much, even though he probably shouldn't, because he's low-key committing treason by the way he's been playing these last couple games. But we know he's only playing because they literally had to recruit that nigga. Tyrese Halliburton didn't play the other game. There's going to be some games where other people don't play because of matchup reasons. We got to stop trying to give Jason Tatum things that I don't want to see as an earn, but he kind of hasn't earned at the same time. Who the hell are you to be saying, oh, we have to play this nigga over Kevin Durant? Like, what are we doing here? Like, he has things to add. He's a good player, but we made too much big deal about it. I think I'm not gonna say they're gonna cruise to the gold medal. I do think that they're gonna probably have a close game or two, because that's usually what we see. I think Canada is gonna give them some go once again. I think they're gonna destroy Puerto Rico tomorrow, but it's looking like everybody out there who was panicking, not any of us on this esteemed panel, it looked like they were panicking for nothing. Dante, what you think about, if you saw anything from these last 2 games, or just anything that kind of stood out?
No, it's nothing to panic. I think people sometimes forget that, when we put these all-star teams together, yeah, they had a little mini camp in Vegas, but it's a difference between training camp and game speed. So, practicing against the best in the world, you already have, a certain expectation. And then when you get out there, the game still has to come to you. You still have to, go out there and play. So I think right now, a lot of the silly shit people were saying, at the end of the day, they're not going to go out there and beat people by 50 every night. That's dead. That is not the game you should be expecting from Olympic basketball. That's, they are not the Team USA soccer team who gets smoked everywhere. The gap around the world is not as big in basketball as it is with other sports. That's just the facts. So I think they'll continue to grow together. And like you said, KD is one of the best Olympians ever. And I think, this is one of those things where we have a lot of people talking, especially the Celtics fans talking about Jason Tatum and all of that. Like, one thing about the Olympic basketball team is that everybody has a role and they accept that role. Like, even Steph Curry, he's not getting the same Golden State looks, and that's Steph fucking Curry. You feel me? Like it's just not how Olympic basketball works. But I think, the talking will always happen just because, like we've said, basketball discourse is in a really shitty space right now. Just no other way to put it. So, I mean, we expect that. But in terms of the team, I think they're going to roll to the gold medal game, and the gold medal game will probably be exciting, but they'll get the dub.
Bang, man. What is still? I know you said on summer session that you really don't be paying attention to the basketball in the Olympics and you like the actual Olympic sports. But what is, if anything, stood out to you about them taking care of Serbia and South Sudan?
That they did what they were supposed to do. That's pretty much it. Like, I wasn't worried about this team at all. It was more about what's going to happen when they get to the medal. And they probably could slip depending on who the team is. We don't know how things are going to shake out. We don't know how things are going to shake out once we get to the medal side. But then I knew they wasn't going to have no problem in their goddamn group. Like, you seen they group weak as hell. So we'll see what happens when we get to the medal round and stuff. I'm not really even worried about NBA North. Because when I look at these Olympics, there's NBA North and then there's NBA Central. NBA Central is the United States of America and NBA North is, of course, Canada. We'll see what happens there. I think that's going to be a great game. I think it might be highly competitive because you'll have a Canada team who has 10 NBA players on it going up against the United States. But they ain't got Kevin Durant. They ain't got LeBron James. Hell, Stephen Curry ain't even hitting shots. Like, I don't know what the fuck going on with the
my boy Steph been ass, bro.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the.
I don't know what's going on with Wardell. Yeah,
he's ass with a capital ass. Whatever French is, ass is in French, that's exactly what he is right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man. Let's move on because it's not too much we gotta say about that, man. I don't even know if I won't be watching tomorrow's game because I'll be at practice. But let's talk about NFL season started. We haven't talked about the Dallas Cowboys one time, so we're gonna take the next 10 minutes and talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Dakota Rain Prescott is set himself up for the greatest payday in the history of this league. He is, well, the way they framed this contract, he is well on his way to unrestricted free agency. He hasn't really had any talks with the Cowboys. They haven't really been going anywhere. We've had like 2 or 3 Jerry Jones press conferences. What's the name of Jerry's son, who's the CEO? Steven Jones, basically saying that they know that it's feeling like things might change as far as what salary cap is going. And it kind of feels like what Jerry Jones means by going all in, which he said all offseason, is I'm going all in with this final roster. If these niggas can't get it done in year 9 of them being together, we just gonna start over, which is weird. I can't remember the last time the Cowboys actually like rebuild it. Like, at least I can't remember the last time at all they rebuild it. Kind of feel like they went through a little tough period of quarterback after not having Aikman, but even I think they had Bledsoe for a little bit. But it's like they went from Romo, had Romo for like a decade, and then they went right into Dak. So Dak, I believe he's gone. I think that CD Lamb is gonna be. CD Lamb will come to an agreement, but I don't think it's gonna be what the money he's gonna be expecting. But Dak is gonna get paid, and the reason why I think he's gonna get $60 million per year is because look at these contracts from other quarterbacks who aren't even better than Dak right now, and they had to give up assets. They were in trades. Look at the Deshaun Watson contract. Look at Kirk Cousins contract. It's going to be even bigger than that. And if I was him, I'd be playing with absolutely with house money, because I'm gonna go out here, do my thing. If the Cowboys do well and they win, they're gonna be inclined to pay me. If they don't, some other team is gonna pay me just because there's not a lot of good quarterbacks in the NFL. And to me, if I'm his agent, I'm Birdman hand rubbing right now. The thing that I'm looking at for this, and Orlando just said that in the chat, is I've got my eye on Michael Parsons. When this fallout happens and the rubble disappears, I want to see there's a way that the Bears can be able to get him. But as far as that, that's going to be a paid man. We're going to look at that contract and be like, this is asinine. But if you got guys like Jordan Love and you got guys like Tua, who both of them, in my opinion, are not better than Dak. Getting the money they're gonna get, Dak is gonna get cashed out. Courtney, you're over there in Dallas. Is there any? Is it? Do Dallas Cowboys fans feel that this is the year with Dak, or are we just on the outside, just thinking he's gonna leave, but they're not thinking about that?
You're 100% spot on. There actually have been like a lot of reports about the training camp attendance in Oxnard being lower than like in years past. So people kind of already have like I mean, again, I'm speaking very generally here. I know there's a lot of Cowboys fans that are very delusional and think every year is their year. But I'd say for the most part, with my friends who are all Cowboys fans, there's a general sense that this is probably their last go around with Dak, and that they're probably going to end up paying CD and Micah Parsons and choosing to go that route over paying Dak Prescott for sure.
Dante, man, what you think about this situation?
You can never really know what Jerry Jones is doing. You know, he's an interesting man. Stephen Jones has tried to do their best, you know, keep him in check. But I think we're at a point where I don't see how you don't pay Dak. Like, I just don't. Like, and it is with all the criticism I've said about Dak. I still think, you know, when they need him the most, he usually puts up stinkers. That's just a fact. But I think it's in a situation where when you look around the league and you see these QB situations and how once a team top guy goes down, they're pretty much cooked. You know, you traded for Trey Lance, but do you really expect Trey Lance to come in and do what Dak Prescott did? I don't think so. Like, he hasn't pretty much played a full season of football since fucking high school, so I don't know how you could see that. So I think it's a situation where you're gonna have to give Dak his money, and that's when, like Orlando said, and like we've been saying for a while now, that's when the Bears, you know, you take a look at a Micah Parsons, because I think everybody's not gonna get paid. Everybody's not gonna get paid. That's just not gonna happen. Despite the fact that the Cowboys are one of those teams that, you know, print money, but with the NFL and the salary cap and the way things go, they just, you know, they play it safe, they play it smart. And so I think he is going to pay Dak. Like, you can't go and not pay Dak. That would just be dumb.
Bane, do you think that Jerry's going to cave? You know, Jerry has been known of giving contracts last minute. Or do you think that Dak is about that thing?
I think that Jerry's going to try to cave, but that price is going to be way too much. Dak's going to fuck around and get 60, 65 million because somebody's going to run that price up. So, yeah, that's a little scary, fam. I don't think I would have waited this long to pay this man. And who's your alternative? The Cowboys are going to be good enough to not. Hell no. And they're not gonna be bad enough to be asked for Shador, or for Carson Beck. So they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They're gonna have to give up at least 60. But I think the Raiders might come in and be like, "Yo, I got 62 for you, Playboy. Let's slide."
It's Trey Lance season, baby.
Hey, shit. Sorry.
We gotta go back and revisit that 2021 draft one day because a lot of them niggas are ass. And Trevor Lawrence, trick off Trev, you are under surveillance this fall and winter, my boy. You are under surveillance. I'm with you, Bang. Raiders. That's the team I want to see Dak go in. I think that team just needs a decent quarterback. You think I'm finna believe Aiden McConnell or white people's favorite quarterback, Gardner Minshew? I think not. Like, they have a good defense. They've got a very agitated Devontae Adams that I am very close to thinking he might be a New York Jet by the second half of the season if he keeps talking the way he was talking on wide receiver. I think they're going to put all their chips on the table and try to get Dak. And I've never thought in my life, like, yo, I like to be Dak Prescott right now. But that nigga's about to get paid 100%, man. So,
Scott,
go ahead,
Scott, I didn't know you wanted to be a police officer.
Okay.
That's crazy.
All right. Okay. All right.
That's crazy.
All right. Womp womp. Buddy.
That's crazy.
Let's move on to our inside series, man. This week we're gonna pivot to the AFC. We just finished the NFC last week on the AFC, and we're gonna go into, my opinion, best division in football. That is the AFC North, which is home to the Baltimore Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Cincinnati Bengals, man. They are also going to be the focus of the third Hard Knocks this year. Just wrapped up the offseason Hard Knocks with the New York Giants. I thought was very entertaining. I think that, you know how they always say that teams don't want to do the regular Hard Knocks? I think you're going to get a lot of front offices who ain't going to want nothing to do with the offseason Hard Knocks. In fact, would not shock me if this first and last offseason Hard Knocks, because we just saw how bad a nigga was at his job in real time on there. And of course, the original OG Hard Knocks, the Bears will be doing that, kicking off on Wednesday. But for the second time, for the third year in a row, we got the in-season Hard Knocks. This time, they're going to be focusing on a full division. 2 years ago, it was the Indianapolis Colts. Last year, it was the Miami Dolphins. This year, they're doing on the entire AFC North. First time they're doing full divisions. Too many black QBs in the division for Scott's liking. First of all, I'm going to say what Stephen A. Smith said. You ain't even black. Let's move on. This is something where it's going to be fun to see the entire division mid-season in the division. I personally think it's going to go down to the wire. So let's start with the first team. That is the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens last year went to the AFC Championship game. Lamar Jackson won a second MVP. They went 13-4. Ended up losing to the eventual two-time Super Bowl champion, well, actually 3-time Super Bowl champion, but repeat Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs. They had a great year. I think coming into this year, it's kind of what we said about the 49ers a little bit. Like, look, we all know that Lamar Jackson is an elite quarterback. He has 2 MVPs now. Last year they lost primarily because I felt like Lamar and Greg Roman were trying to prove it to people like me that he can throw his way into a victory. Instead of, I mean, look, I'm gonna stand on it forever until that nigga proves me wrong and he beats people in the playoffs with his arm. I'm gonna keep saying it. So y'all can say what y'all want to say. Until I'm wrong, I'm standing on that. So he tried to prove it to me and all the other detractors last year, and it didn't work. He threw that little wobbly ass pass in the end zone and got picked off by L'Jarius Sneed. They got to go out there. Now they've got Derrick Henry, got another year of Roquan Smith over there. And they just signed Eddie Jackson. I love Bo Jack. That's my guy. He's not bringing anything. I don't even think he's going to stay healthy for the entire year. But it's put up a shut up time for them. When are they going to actually step up and make it to the Super Bowl? And I think that's all the spotlight on them this year. They need to finally do that. Like, Sean Harbaugh's been there for an entirely long time. I mean, I think he's either the second longest tenured coach in the NFL right now. Outside Mike Tomlin, it's put up a shut up time for them, man. I do think that Derrick Henry adds another great element to them. He's going to help Lamar out, but it's going to come down to, can they actually make it to the big game? That's all this season about is for me for the Baltimore Ravens. Courtney, what do you think about the Ravens' outlook heading into this season?
I kind of hold the Ravens in the same regard as I do the Cowboys now. Like, until you do it, I'm just like, I'm not in. Like, I'm starting to get flashes of like, it's our year, and then like you get into the playoffs and you embarrass me, you know. So I don't really know. That division's tough, and they've got a really tricky schedule too. There's a lot of teams in that division. I'd say the Bengals probably have the easiest schedule out of all the teams in that division. So yeah, I mean, I think they'll probably win about 10 or 11 games this season, which I think will be enough for them to win this division. But other than that, I don't think that they're going to win this year.
Do you think they go farther than they did last year? Which means they have to go to the Super Bowl, so I guess no.
No. I don't think so. And that's no shade to Lamar at all. I like Lamar. I like the Ravens. I'm not buying into it this year, unfortunately.
Dante, what you think about the outlook for the defending AFC North champion Baltimore Ravens?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I hold them in the same regard as the 49ers. You got to show me something. We know the talent is there. We know they have the quarterback. It's just a matter of, is that quarterback going to finally come through in that big moment? Lamar definitely has the skill set. I know his stomach has been fucking with him. He has probably one of the worst immune systems I've ever seen in my life. As he's sick like every 2 weeks. But other than that, this is a team that, they've added more pieces. The defense is always solid. Shout out to Roquan getting his money, being a leader over there. Bringing Bojack. Hopefully Bojack can stay healthy because he still, is a solid safety in the league. But I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to that offense and what Lamar Jackson does in the playoffs. So I expect them to win this division again, but I think it's a matter of when you get into those big games, when you get into those games against, Kansas City, against Buffalo, how is Lamar going to react? How is that team going to react? So that's what it really comes down to. It's a team where there's really not much room for leeway with them. It's like, all right, are we going to the Super Bowl or are we doing the same shit we did last season?
Bang, man, what you think about the Ravens' outlook for this campaign? And you on mute, dog.
Oh man, I'll send the cash app. Nah, man, I'm with Courtney. I believe it when I see it. The team is good enough to be a dominant team, but it's always something. So I'm at a point now where we need to see it. We need to see something from Harbaugh. Lamar Jackson be having me worried and shit about his health. He lost all that weight. And then now you sick. Not saying anything is, I think anything, not trying to speculate. I'm just saying, like, yo, it just be having me worried because this seems to happens a lot. The running back position, is Derrick Henry still Derrick Henry? Is the wide receiver position still like shored up? Y'all got 50 tight ends though, so that's straight. Offensive line is always, strong. You just lost your defensive coordinator. So how's your defense going to look? They got questions. I think they can overcome them, but at the same time, I got to believe it when I see it.
Yes, sir. Let's move on to the next team. Their quarterback is a nigga who should be in prison and not on the football field.
Yeah,
that is
Freaky
the
Sean.
Freaky Sean. That is somebody. Yo, shout out my guy Amp from Random Acts Podcast. He put a picture of Deshaun. He said, "Damn, this nigga even starting to look like R. Kelly." But Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson, the Cleveland Browns, man, they finished 11-6 last year. Deshaun got hurt. Like mid-year, Joe Flacco took over, and he kind of had like a second career renaissance, had a real good in the second half of the year, and got into the playoffs. We got absolutely smoked by C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans in Houston in that wild card game. But even the game that Sean played, the nigga was looking bad. Like he was not playing well whatsoever. So you've got a defense that has been incredible. Myles Garrett is a monster. That defense is just great front to back. All this is on the shoulders of Deshaun Watson, man. This is it's kind of put up a shut up time for him as well. And one thing that I hate this. Like he's telling me, "Oh, well, I feel good because I finally passed all the bullshit." Like he didn't bring this on himself.
Correct.
Come on, dog. Like you're the freak nigga who put this on himself. You ain't got nobody to blame but you, dog. Anybody trying to hear all that? So I said, if you're gonna be a freak, at least be good on the field. At the bare minimum, be good on the field. If you're going to be a diabolical human being, at least be good at what you are on the field. He has not been that since he has been a Cleveland Brown. And this year, you got to see it because I feel like that general manager that they have over there in Cleveland he did a good job of putting this roster together. I think Kevin Stefanski is one of the best coaches in football. He does a good job. It's all about whether or not Deshaun Watson has anything left in the football tank for me to see because the AFC is getting tougher now. You just got knocked out by a rookie quarterback and a team that ain't been to the playoffs in a minute. So they got a lot to prove as well, and you don't want to waste. Take this from a Bears fan. You do not want to waste a great defensive player like Myles Garrett, a generational defensive player like Myles Garrett, and as good as that defense is, they've got to take advantage of that. And it's all going to come down to what we just said about Lamar. Can Deshaun make the throws? Courtney, what's your outlook for the Browns this season?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know how I feel about Deshaun Watson. I don't have too much to add. But if I'm trying to be, I guess completely honest, I've watched that man play 12 football games over the past 3 seasons. So I don't know why we're all so set on him coming back and like being this fantastic quarterback. I think they're going to finish third in the division, and that's only because the Steelers have such a tough schedule. However, and I know we're not talking about the Steelers yet, I don't like to bet against Mike Tomlin finishing the schedule above 500 or finishing the season above 500. So, yeah, I don't. Fuck Deshaun Watson. That's really all I got.
Yeah, I mean, that's really all we got to say is fuck Deshaun Watson.
And honestly, beyond that, like, again, if I'm getting down to the nitty-gritty, real football shit, that team, defensively, obviously incredibly talented, but, like, offensively, is Nick Chubb, when is he going to be playing again? Like, there's a lot of question marks on the offense for me beyond, the fan that they have at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I think Nick Chubb just started practicing. Yeah, I think he just started. Like, you're not gonna expect a lot from him. They said they're hoping to get him back on the field soon. So yeah, even if he does play, it's gonna take a minute, if at all, he gets back to the guy he used to be. Bang, what you think about the Cleveland Browns and Freaky Sean?
I am. If Joe Flacco can lead this team at the end of the season, we should be able to get that from Deshaun Watson. But we haven't been able to get that.
See, I disagree with that though. Joe Flacco's not a bad quarterback.
I mean, Deshaun Watson's not a bad quarterback.
He's old.
Deshaun Watson's not a bad quarterback.
Only a few guys in the NFL had a lower success rate when they were pressured than Deshaun Watson. Tommy DeVito, Trevor Siemian, and Daniel Jones and Bryce Young. That's fucking terrible. That's terrible company to be in.
And I think the issue with Deshaun Watson, that is a lot of stuff in his head. I think he had to clear it out. Even he said it. I think he got the
Green Goblin masseuse mask in the corner.
Fam. Okay. I'll just say it like this.
It was right there at the basket. I had to take it.
I'll just say it like this.
Use the towel.
I just say it like this. It's something, and it might sound bad, but I am gonna say it. There's some people that operate in filth and be successful, and when you take that away from them, they don't have that. I'm gonna put Deshaun Watson in that category, and I'm not even joking. There's something that I learned about people who ain't shit. People who ain't shit and successful are successful because they ain't shit. And when you take that away from them, they become lesser than what they are. Deshaun Watson, if everything is true what happened, is an ain't shit ass person. And he got that shit taken away from him, and he ain't been shit ever since. He probably needs that to be successful. And when you take that away, what you gonna do? And that's why he comes out and say there's a lot of things that was in my head for a past year. No, fam, you wasn't able to do the shit that you was able to do and get away with and come off on the field the way that you do. Nah. So it would shock me and surprise. But the thing is, with that offense, that offensive line, that defense, he ain't gotta be a top flight. He could be less than Deshaun Watson and win. The issue is if Kevin Stefanski is going to dumb the offense down and say, hey, we don't need you to go out there and be Deshaun Watson with the Texans. We just need you to play and be successful here and not try to play hero ball. You go and try to be what you was with the Texans, the shit's going to fail because your ass was out here getting rubbed on and doing nasty shit and being a freak man. Can't be a freak man.
Dante, man, what's your take on the 2024 Cleveland Browns?
No, I'll keep it brief. I think Courtney really hit the nail on the head. It's like over the past 3 years, what you've seen from Deshaun Watson has not been a good quarterback, flat out, whatever the reason may be. He hasn't been good. If he's not going to be good, this team isn't going anywhere. So I think, we've seen too much bad football to sit here and say he's going to just snap out of it and be ready to go. So I think this is a team. They were 11-6 last year. Joe Flacco went on an amazing heater, which was, partially sparked by the Bears dropping the defensive end in the coverage on 3rd and long, but that's neither here nor there. I think this team is going to finish
Well, we ain't got to get picks yet. We're gonna do that. We're gonna get that close to the end of the season. But
okay. Well, they're gonna be terrible. Just give a little hint. They're gonna be bad.
We'll give our records on our NFL preview episode. So you said they'll be trash. Let's move on to a very interesting storyline right here that I think a lot of Bears fans, Dante smiling. The Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers finished 10-7 last year.
Come on, boy. Come on, boy, man.
Proud of you, nigga.
10-7. Why we gonna be okay? Bears fans gonna keep treating just like he a make-a-wish kid. Put a look at him throwing a deep ball.
Not even, bro. Not even. Right. We ain't gotta go in depth. Go ahead.
Wishing for the best, man.
But so the Steelers finished 10-7 last year, continuing Mike Tomlin's streak of finishing 500 or higher. They did miss the playoffs. They had a terrible quarterback situation. Their quarterback situation has gotten a little better this year. And I say only a little better because you know the timely old phrase, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. They signed Russell Wilson for the low because Denver is still paying that nigga. And then, of course, the Bears traded Justin Fields to Pittsburgh. That's the place that Justin wanted to be, and Ryan Poles looked out for him. And also, for years, Mike Tomlin said one of his favorite players that he wished he would coach would be Justin Fields, man. So I think that's the number one storyline to me, because this is now a quarterback battle that I didn't think it would be. I said it'll only be that if Russell got injured, and Russell has gotten injured. And the last couple, I guess like the last week and a half, Justin's been taking a lot of the number one snaps from the few Pittsburgh beat writers that I've seen, be on radio, TV, and tweets. It seems like the stuff we usually hear from Justin, a couple good days, couple bad days, but I do feel like he has a real good shot to start. To me, this has nothing to do with them making the playoffs, because I do not believe they'll make the playoffs. I do believe they can win, double-digit games like they did last year, because Mike Tomlin is that good of a coach. And no matter who is the quarterback, whether Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, it's a massive upgrade from the niggas they had throwing that ball last year. So I think just off that, they can be a better team. You got a good defense. Got George Pickens. I think they'll be set up to compete, but this division is too stacked. The AFC is too stacked for me to think they're going to do anything. But this is a big opportunity for both quarterbacks. If you're Justin Fields, you go out there, you ball out. He didn't get his fifth year picked up, so he's going to be a free agent. He's got a chance to get that big contract that I think everybody, Bears fans and everybody, thought he was going to get with the Bears. He has an opportunity to do that, but also simply because if he fails, he might be a career backup going forward. So this is a massive camp and a massive year for Justin. The same thing for Russ. If Russ gets beat out by Justin and maybe he's too hurt to come back, or maybe he's too bad and gets his job taken, this might be a wrap for maybe a future Hall of Famer. And I say maybe because I don't really 100% know if Russ is a Hall of Famer. But this is a lot riding on the line for both of them. So that's why I'm loving that they're going to be on Hard Knocks, because I can't wait to see all this play out this season. Courtney, what you think about the Steelers? I know you just said that, you have a lot of faith in Mike Tomlin-led teams. What's your take on this year's version of the Steelers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously like a little interested to see how that dynamic plays out in Pittsburgh. But mostly I'm just skeptical because the second half of their schedule is brutal. I'm looking at it right now. Week 10, they play at Washington, but then they got Baltimore, Cleveland 2 times in 3 weeks, then Philly, Baltimore again, Kansas City, and then they end their season playing Cincinnati. I mean, that's just like a brutal 10 through 18 stretch. Like prayers, thoughts and prayers to that entire organization in the second half. I'm really concerned about, like I said, that ability to hit that 500 mark this season, just because that schedule is so tough. And again, with no stability at the quarterback position, like you said, having 2 is basically like having none. But I don't know. My hot take, they will finish with a better record than the Cleveland Browns. That's my hot take.
I'm with you. I am with you.
Go ahead, Dante.
No, I think I was talking to somebody. I was thinking it's kind of funny. Russell Wilson's career might end the way it started, where the projected starter gets his job taken in camp. So I think this is the perfect scenario for Justin for a plethora of reasons, mainly because I think Russell Wilson is fucking washed. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that there's anything left in the tank for Russ. I hate to say it because I do think he's a good dude. He has some great moments up there in Seattle. But I think, last season his numbers were deceptive because if you actually watched a lot of those Denver games, Sean Payton was protecting them with that offense. Like, he didn't throw a lot of interceptions because he wasn't throwing the ball that far. You feel me? Like, it was a lot of dink and dunk, get it out of your hands.
So you mean he was doing the Aaron Rodgers? Yeah. Yeah, Aaron, you think he'd be getting away with that shit?
Let's relax.
Aaron, I see you, nigga.
We're not gonna do that. But no, I just think right now, I think this is a perfect moment for Justin Fields. Like you said, he didn't get his 5th year picked up, but I think he'll still be able to get a decent deal. I expected him to start 10 to 12 games this season, but depending on this injury, if he looks good enough, I think you could see Mike Tomlin knowing that, I just got my extension, but at the same time, this is Pittsburgh. We want to win as many games as possible. If Russ is still hurt or if Russ is not 100%, you could see them. I could see them opening the season with Justin as the quarterback. And if he gets hot, he's not going to get that job up.
Okay. I don't disagree. I don't really disagree. I say I don't believe that. I don't know if Russ is Huff yet, but he's on Huff Boulevard, 100%. So if Justin can't beat this nigga out, I'm questioning some things. Bang, what you think about this year's iteration of the Steelers?
This version of the Steelers is the same as others. They want to run the ball. They want to play smash mouth football. The best way that you do that is with Justin Fields. I had said that I felt like Arthur Smith would be the best coach or at least offensive coordinator for Justin because Justin can be similar to, and I know some folks might find this disrespectful, but it's not. But Justin, you can play him like he did Ryan Tannehill, and he parlayed making Ryan Tannehill successful into a head coaching job with Atlanta. So and Ryan Tannehill wasn't bad. He led them to the playoffs, the Tennessee Titans, a couple of times. So with that being said, man, I think that this is a good situation for Justin Fields. If he could go ahead and take that job, and like Dante said, because I was about to say the same thing, he gets the job, he loses the job, Russell loses the job like he got it. Matt Flynn was projected to be the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. They drafted Russell Wilson in the 3rd round, and Russell came up in there and he shocked everybody and he took that job as a rookie. Justin is not a rookie. Justin is healthy. That team seems to be gelling around him. I believe that it is more likely than not that Justin will be the starter. And I do believe that Russell Wilson is washed. I also believe that Russell Wilson, part of him being washed is mentally is he still there. Look, man, he let Sean Payton tear him down. I'm still shocked at some of the stuff that I saw a quarterback allow a coach who clearly did not want him to be there, the way that he allowed himself to be treated. The Steelers is not that type of organization. So, yeah, I don't see a world where Russell is going to start more games than Justin. With that being said, I don't think this team is going to be that good. I think they're going to be good enough to not have a losing season, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, and I'll tell y'all why when we talk about the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, let's get into the Cincinnati Bengals, man. They went 8-9 last year, missed the playoffs because this man right here, Mr. Joe Burrow, got hurt once again. Missed the rest of the entire season. He is back healthy, and not only is he back, he got rid of his nice haircut and got his Hitler Youth haircut that he got now, looking like, he looks like he turns his body cam off when he pulls niggas over. It's just completely different, like an extra from the Slim Shady. Remember the I'm Slim Shady performance at the VMAs in like 2001? That's what Joe Burrow looks like right now. But it's a lot of pressure on him. Jamar Chase is currently holding in. That's the new thing, holding in. Where basically you're at camp, you just don't practice, waiting for his new contract. Rightfully so. Jamar's been one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. This is a make or break year for Joe Burrow. Not even just the Bengals, for Joe Burrow. Because in my opinion, he's the second best quarterback in the NFL, but he has to stay healthy. And he is outside of that season when they actually made it to the Super Bowl. He has not been healthy his entire career. That has to happen this year. I think they're gonna have a great season because they have a last place schedule. And they have a last place schedule only because Joe Burrow got hurt. And even with them getting hurt, niggas won 8 games. They was in a lot of games last year, even without Joe Burrow. So I feel like if Joe Burrow can stay healthy, sky's the limit for this team because Joe Burrow is one of them ones. He's the only quarterback who has beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs whose name isn't Tom Brady and has done it at Arrowhead. So if they're healthy, if he's healthy, this team is going to be a threat. And that's if they pay Jamar Chase because they got 2 kind of disgruntled wide receivers right now. Jamar Chase wants to get paid. T. Higgins agreed to the 1-year deal, but he still wants his long-term contract. They need to get that situation taken care of. And we all know the Browns have been notorious for being cheap. They had no choice but to pay Joe Burrow. They might be making a mistake if they don't. Ain't no might. They will be making a mistake if they don't pay Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So those are 2 things I'm looking at heading into this is the contract situation for Jamar, contract situation for T. Higgins, and can Joe Burrow at least play 14 games out of a 17-game season? If they can, I think they'll be a really good football team. Courtney, what you think about this year's Cincinnati Bengals? You on mute.
My bad. I was over here hacking. I didn't think you needed to hear that.
Yeah, it's all good.
No, I mean, the Bengals have, like I said earlier, they have a really soft schedule, especially compared to like their other divisional rivals. I don't see a scenario where they don't win at least 11 games this season and even win the division. I think if anybody this particular season is going to disrupt Patrick Mahomes' chances in that division, it's going to be Joe Burrow, or not in that division, in that league.
All right, Dante, what you think about them?
I need to see Joe. You know, Joe Burrow is somebody who I hold in a very high regard. I think he's one of the best, damn near top 3 quarterbacks in the league. I think when healthy, he's that good. But I mean, with that being said, they're gonna, live and die with Joe Burrow. What is he gonna do? How healthy is he gonna be? Even with the disgruntled wide receivers, I think they're gonna go out there and perform regardless. I'm not worried about that. So I think this is a team that will be in that, in that wild card race from the start. And so it's just a matter of how Joe looks. Can he stay healthy? If he's able to stay healthy, I think they'll be fine.
Bang, take the floor and take us home on the AFC North with the Bengals.
The Bengals has the 6th easiest schedule in the NFL this season. They start off against the New England Patriots. Then they go to Kansas City at Arrowhead. We've seen him be successful there. The Commanders, the Patriots, the Ravens, the New York Giants, the Cleveland Browns, the Philadelphia Eagles, Raiders, Baltimore Ravens, and Chargers before they get to their bye. The back half of their year, they have the Steelers, the Cowboys, the Titans, the Browns again, the Broncos, and the Steelers. Even though this is a last place schedule, there's some hard games on here. But I see no reason for the Cincinnati Bengals to have a bounce back year, to the point where I have already put my money down on it. I'm predicting that Joe Burrow, if healthy, will be the NFL most valuable player this year. I feel that this will be a comeback year for them. They're going to be one of the top seeds in the AFC conference, and I think all will go well for this team. I won't predict anything outside of that, but I will let you know that I have very high hopes on the Cincinnati Bengals team, to the point where I am happy this is the team that the Bears are playing against, because they're both in similar situations, and I do believe that that team, especially with the wide receivers that they will have at practice there, is going to be good. It's going to be good to see our defensive backs go up against them, and that defense to go up against one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think this sets up the Bears even perfectly as well. So high hopes for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I definitely got August 15th circled for the joint practice and scrimmage.
Well, you should have that circled because that's Trey's birthday. He'll be 10.
Oh, happy early birthday to Trey. That's why we also got a circle. Trey's birthday, and also see the Bears scrimmage with a really, really good team. And I think that how tough that scrimmage is going to determine how much the starters play on that Saturday for the first game in Soldier Field in like 8 months. Last, this real quick NFL question I have for y'all that I didn't have on the rundown, but I forgot to ask in local hour, and then bang, you can go your way, and we'll close this out with our one baseball topic. What y'all think about the new kick last night?
This is gonna take me a second to get.
It looked a little goofy, yeah, but
Yeah.
I'll get used to it.
Yeah,
I saw a couple of XFL games, so I was used to it. It's gonna take some get used to, but what I will say is, when they get used to it, we're probably gonna see more kickoff returns for touchdowns than we have in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think
That's
that
what people want to see, right? Offense.
exactly. I think that it can work. I don't think either team showed their hand yesterday and how they're going to really show it. I mean, Torrey Taylor didn't really play yesterday. And, their kick, there's a lot of stuff they didn't really do yesterday. Their returners
We
didn't
were really watching that game for like analysis, right? Like I thought it was just for vibes,
Oh, no, it's the Bears. So I had to, it's the Bears. So I had to watch it for analysis.
Whenever I watch those kinds of games, I really just go, I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. Football's back. Like, just vibes.
I left the table of unlimited food and alcohol to watch the fucking Bears because I had to do a podcast.
yeah.
So anybody says I'm not dedicated to the brand is a liar.
Yeah, and you got to think this was the first time in a long time we didn't see 17 screen passes. And,
yes.
It
was amazing. It was amazing.
You got to give me something.
Bang, we're going to get you out of here, man. You can follow Bang in all social media platforms at JR Bang. Is there anything you want to plug before we get you out of here?
Bang, you don't want to talk about the trade deadline with us?
No, I don't want to talk about that shit. But first, Black Champ, we got the new episode out. We give our SummerSlam predictions. SummerSlam Friday actually starts now. Shouts out to A+ and all of them in Cleveland too. SummerSlam is going to be a great show. First Black Champ, so make sure y'all check that out. And then Some Dude as well. Our latest episode is out right now. I asked my wife if she would leave me if I started using crack. She said yes, and I felt that was wrong. So we talked about that. Yeah, but you got to. It's for rich or for poor. Death do you part. She got to at least try. She got to at least try to get me off of crack, fam. But we
That's fair.
But we also talk about the Olympics. It says breakdancing starts next Friday. We talk about footworking. Like how do you judge footworking? And if that could be an Olympic sport too. So y'all go ahead and check out both of those episodes.
Definitely, Bang. We will holler at you next Friday, man. Look at the time, man. We actually on time today, man. We're going to take the next 10 minutes to talk about MLB trade deadline winners and losers. It was a lot of deals. I think it was like 30-something deals that happened for this trade deadline. And, for the first time, I feel like the MLB actually took over for a day. Like the day actually looked good. And it was just a lot of them in the news, especially when you got the Olympics going on, which is very rare that you see with baseball. The biggest trade that stood out for me was Jazz Chisholm. Like Jazz, as I have said, me and Dante have been saying this all year that he had been doing more podcasts talking than hitting the baseball. But that's what a change of scenery does. Nobody in Miami cares about the Marlins. I wish Mikey was on here to tell us just how much they don't care about the Marlins. They sell their tickets for like $2. But to be with the Yankees, to be in the middle of a pennant race, it feels like he's just been rejuvenated. I think he's had like 5 home runs since he's been with the Yankees, and he's been the real spark that the Yankees have needed in that lineup, man. I think it's just been fun to watch him, and that's the biggest thing that stood out to me. The losers, I kind of talked about what the losers were already. The fucking White Sox and the Cubs. They're the losers here. I don't know what the hell they're doing in this particular situation. I'm going to give the floor to Dante, then go ahead, Courtney. Dante, who are your winners and losers from this year's trade deadline?
I only got a couple. My 2 winners, they are both in the NL West. I think the Padres, you got the best closer on the market that was available. The Dodgers doing what the Dodgers do. Somehow this is a team that manages to give out big contracts, make big trades, draft well, develop players. It's just some type of witchcraft going on in Chavez Ravine. I don't know what the fuck it is, but getting Kopech as a throw-in when he was the team's best reliever, just speaks to how stupid they are, but just more great work by the Dodgers front office. My biggest losers, I would probably say Minnesota. They gave up a lot to get a reliever that they probably shouldn't have, but I think that was partially because of the White Sox, and the White Sox tried to get their 3 best prospects for Federal. They tried to do a real, really interdivision tax, but the Twins stood strong on that, and as a result, they had to pay a little extra to go get a reliever that they probably shouldn't have paid that much for. I'm trying to think anybody else that's really a loser. Like you said, the Yankees are the big winner here. Like Jazz, I think this has potential to be a very, very large move because he's under team control for several years and he's been touted as somebody with superstar potential for a while. So now being able to sit behind the captain, being able to play with Juan Soto, everybody on that team, I think that's a guy who, can really do damage for the Yankees and cause them to be, continue to be a perennial World Series contender, which is always the goal in New York. So I think, that's my real big lose. Like I said, the Twins, they just overpaid, and you're in the race. You're trying to catch Cleveland, and I think that they could have got more bang for their buck, just given how the rest of the market shook out. But them damn Dodgers, man.
Dodgers always know what they're doing. Courtney, who was winners and losers for you?
Yeah, winners. Gonna echo what Dante was saying, Dodgers and Padres for the exact same reasons. I'm also going to, and I don't necessarily it's kind of weird to say that they're a winner because they're very much losers right now, but Miami definitely cleaned up at the deadline. They traded 10 guys and got 18 prospects back in return. And now again, are those prospects going to turn into something meaningful for them? We'll see, that's the name of the game. But I think they definitely got a great selection of guys from those trades. Well done down there. Also, the Tampa Bay Rays also kind of came up nice. Yes, they got rid of half their team and most of it was a salary dump, which also goes on to kind of my loser for the deadline. And it's not a team that's in contention per se, but the Giants. What were the Giants doing? Getting rid of Jorge Soler? You got Tyler Matzik back in return. That's cool. I don't really understand. Oh God, Mark Hanna. What? I don't understand.
Braves trying to get that old thing back.
What is Jorge Soler gonna do in Atlanta?
Yeah.
What is
the Braves just trying to get that old thing back. That's really what they trying to call it.
Yeah, they signed Eddie Rosario. He did something for the sake of doing
big
something.
Losers, and the biggest loser, the one who's in contention, is the fucking Yankees. I'm so sick of the current brand of Yankee baseball where they're fucking acting poor as fuck. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for their fans that have to defend these fucking. Listen, I'm not saying trade whatever. And listen, who knows what they're going to ask you for compared to what they ask other teams for, right? Maybe they jacked the price up on the Yankees on Jack Flaherty, the Tigers did, compared to what the Dodgers gave up Jack Flaherty. It's entirely possible. But come the fuck on, man. That's pathetic. You gotta make more moves than that. You gotta make more moves than that.
Yeah, man. This is the part of the year where the baseball gets really good. Where we're getting into, we're almost close. September, I believe, is the best month.
It's been good since March. Tap in.
Yeah, September's the best month of regular season baseball. But you're really gonna start to see these pennant chases really start to heat up, man. So, shout out to the Yankees. And I know Miami is a cracking city, but New York's a different thing. He gonna go from a team that nobody cares the city to a team that rules New York. I know the Knicks are big, but the Yankees are New York, and he's gonna feel that right away being there. And then I'm looking forward to seeing him being on the actual playoff team.
I just hope they don't if he hits a skid that they don't start to blame him. That rotation has been.
Have
terrible.
You met New Yorkers?
Yeah, I know, and you know how it goes because he's of a particular pigment. I just hope he doesn't get the shit end of the stick. They didn't bother trading for a single starter when their rotation right now currently has a sub 5.5 ERA in their last 35 fucking starts. I'm not trying to hear it. Don't be blaming Jazz Chisholm because he doesn't hit fucking 4 homers in 2 days.
Yeah.
It ain't his fault.
They go what's up with this guy, Jazz Chisholm? I don't really like him.
Mark Leiter Jr. though.
We got too many blacks on the team. We need to get Rizzo back up there. That could definitely hit. You can hit it on WFAN if that happened. But look at us actually finishing on time, man. We're gonna wrap this up for another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. Yeah, man, we will be back next week. We're gonna be getting ready for another preseason game that Caleb Williams will actually be playing, even though Flu says we haven't decided anything yet. Yeah, that's coach speak, nigga. We all know he's gonna play next week. But y'all know to follow me on all social media platforms at Barberchair Scott. Y'all can follow Dante on Twitter at OctoberZoneTay. Y'all can follow Courtney at 1-800-COLLABRO on all social media platforms. And you can follow the Barberchair Network at BarberchairNet on all social media platforms. Follow HB Media, HB Media TV on Twitter, and at HB Media on Instagram, and subscribe to the patreon.com/Barberchair Network. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend, and we will holler at y'all next Friday. We up out of here.